Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the May Diamond Valley Writers Guild meeting. It's so good to see so many faces, and they change. Every month, there are people on Zoom that we see in the room the next month, vice versa. Some of you are way far away. We got Erin in St. Louis. We've got Kevin in Calgary. Lynette should be there. She's in Montana. Anybody else on Zoom from out of California? Wave at the camera if you're from out of California. I don't see anybody else. I know we have at least 3. So we are an international organization, even though we're centered here in the Hemet-San Valley. We're comprised of everything from beginning writers to established authors. We even have one New York Times bestselling author who is a paid member. So it's a big variation of skill sets and places that they're at in their career journey at this point. So if you could please on Zoom mute your mics. If you have questions during Dennis's presentation when he starts, just put something in the chat, raise a hand, flag down Lynette. She should be there somewhere. Is she on? Is Lynette on? Not yet. So flag down Kevin, and he'll make sure that you get recognized so that you can ask your questions. So first off, we're going to have a little update on our website. Kevin Kendall, our vice president, go ahead.
Well, not much has changed on the website for design-wise. I've added a few member books. We've started the newsletter. So underneath the publications menu tab, there's now a newsletter link, and it will by default show you the current or most recent newsletter in a kind of a online PDF viewer, complete with clickable links and stuff. And down below, I have a link to the archive. So we'll have all the newsletters on there for archival purposes. And again, the newsletter signups are available on the homepage, the newsletter page, or the Contact Us page. And also on the newsletter page is a link to submit your shout outs. And it actually just is a form you just fill out, and it sends it to the people that need to know. Likewise, on the member books page, there's a link there to have your books added to the member books page. We're starting to get enough people that I can't really keep up on Amazon, especially being in Canada, with everybody's new books. So yeah, please, if you have a book that's not on our page, please fill out the form and upload them, or fill out the information there, and I can upload it to our member books page. That's it.
Excellent. So Kevin, approximately how many member books do we have on our website at this point?
A lot. I think we're somewhere around 300 books all total.
And keep in mind, you must be a paid member to have your book advertised on our website, but to have that many member books when our membership is well under 100 people, I think is pretty darn good. So congratulations to those of you who have published and have books on our webpage. If you are a paid member and have not submitted your book and you have one out, please do so. We want you to be marketed and advertised so people buy your books. Okay, is Lynette on yet? If not, I will do the Guild Gazette, unless Erin wants to unmute. But I want to first, oh, is she there? Lynette? There she is, yep. She made it.
Sorry, had a little computer trouble this morning, but here I am. And we're really excited about the Guild Gazette. This is going to replace our email shout outs that we used to have. Erin has done an absolutely beautiful job, and she's already got our branding going, and we're able to share these flyers with the Chamber of Commerce and at the library, and just all sorts of beautiful stuff. Erin has done a wonderful job. Erin, thank you so much. And just taking on that responsibility is much appreciated. Now, our deadline for shout outs will still be the 20th of the month, so that she can get it out on a timely basis. And we're really, really excited. This is a new step and a good one for the Guild. So
thank you, Erin. Everybody give her a round of applause, please. Just to be clear, that was Lynette giving the report, but our new newsletter mistress is Erin Schock. She is amazing with Canva. If you haven't seen the newsletter, check your email. You can sign up directly for it, but right now we're sending it out through 2 means, email and through our MailLite newsletter service, because we're trying to transition. So if anyone who could help by signing up for MailerLite, because eventually we want to send it out only through MailerLite rather than directly through email. It's just a whole lot labor intensive for those of us on the board. So anyway, Erin, thanks again for all your hard work on that. One more thing on the shout outs, in case you don't know what that is. A shout out can be you have a book release or launch that month, and we do it as a monthly basis. This last issue was April and May because we didn't send out the shout outs in April, gearing up for the newsletter. But June, if you have a book release coming out in June, or if you have a book signing, or you were a guest on a podcast, or you were a speaker at an event, we want to know. That's the kinds of things we want to know about. So fill out the paperwork, get it to us by the 20th, and we will feature you in whatever manner we can in our newsletter. Jessica Bruce, she's our treasurer. She's going to be talking about 2026 member benefits. Here she is.
Good morning, everyone. I always feel a bit like a reverend greeting my congregation when I say that. I am here to bring you the good news of how to become a member of the Diamond Valley Writers Guild. If you really like what we do here and you want to see it keep going, you like that we have all these lights and cameras and microphones, the best way to support the Guild is to become a member. We like to keep it easy, we like to keep it cheap. So it is only $30 a year per person. If you have any youngins, like a high schooler or a college student, we have rates for them too. It's $10 for high school and below, or $15 for college, and then $30 if you're an adult and graduated. It was a sad day when I had to pay the $30. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, well, it's not enough to keep this wonderful organization going. I want something in return. Don't worry, we have that for you too. If you are a member, you have participation in Guild reading events. As you know, we have 2 a year. We have the April Poetry and we have the October Prose. If you want to submit work to be read to the entire Guild and published on our YouTube channel, you have to be a member for that. You also are able to participate in shoutouts and be featured in the Guild Gazette, brand new, coming out, how exciting. You also are able to participate in Guild publications. You probably saw that really pretty book over there. And if you were like, wow, I wish I was in that, I say this every month, and it's because there's still rumors going around that there might be another one. And of course, if you want to be a part of a committee like that to help put out more books for the Guild, you have to be a member for that. The other thing is if you say, wow, I want to come up here and speak to a crowd, you can run for board positions as long as you're a paid member. We have our elections every October, alternating positions. This year is the 3. So coming up in October, we have elections for vice president, secretary, and member at large. So if you're thinking, wow, they're pretty cool, I want to hang out with them every other month on Tuesday evenings, run for a position. If you want to join today, you can come to me in the back and hand over cash or a check. Otherwise, you can send the money to our PayPal at dvwritersguild@gmail.com. You can go to our website, go to membership, and pay for a membership there. You can also send a check to our P.O. Box 1154, Hemet, California, 92546, and we will get it from there. I have to say that's my least favorite way of receiving money, so it's better to come tell me or do it online, just because you're going to get a return faster. I think that's everything. Now you're probably sitting here, wow, she's scrambled today. Yes, that's because yesterday, if anyone has a calendar, was May 15th, which means that it was the due date for taxes for the Guild. That is my responsibility. I take it with pride. And you're probably wondering, wow, how long did she know about that? Well, I've known about it for several years, but I only remembered on Tuesday that they were due on Friday. So yesterday I was scrambling to get those done, but I'm happy to report that we are still in good standing with the IRS and we are set for another 12 months. Thank you so much.
Let's give Jessica another round of applause. Is it just me, or does it always kind of seem like there's a stand-up comedy routine going up every time she talks? Is that just me? And by the way, I've known that since birth, so yeah. So one more thing on that, on the Guild positions. Again, the election's in October, and I do know for a fact that the vice presidency will be vacant. So we're not losing Kevin, don't worry, but the position of vice president as a formal board position will be opening up for certain. I don't know about the other ones, but for certain. So if you have any interest, talk to me well in advance of that so we can talk about what's involved, et cetera. There's not a huge amount, but still. what's involved. And if you have an interest, and we'll see if we can help you become a little more involved at the business level of the Guild, if you so choose. Volunteers. Jessica kind of hit into that as well. The other place that you can volunteer, if you would like, is in the mornings here for setup. We get here at about 8:15. We can always use an extra set of hands, rolling cables, taping things down, putting out things. So if you're interested, just show up. If you want more information, contact us at the Guild. We're pretty easy to find. Other announcements and reciprocal groups and that sort of thing. In Diamond Valley Writers Guild did a lot of community outreach in the last 30 days. We had a table over at the Hemet Valley Arts Association Evening of Art upstairs here in the library in the big ballroom area. And that went really well. And then we also had a table at the Cinco de Mayo Festival. And again, a lot of people who didn't know about the Guild and didn't even realize, and some were authors and some were wannabe authors and some were people that just write emails, but you know, they still were interested. There's other writers resources in drivable distance from here on different days. The Inland Valley, Inland Empire California Writers Club is just over in Ontario, and their meetings are on the fourth Saturday. We've got the Temecula Valley Writers and Illustrators. They're tomorrow, and they meet on the third Sunday of every month, right after our meeting normally, unless it's an odd month and the weeks shift. And then there's the Writers Coffee House down in San Diego at Mysterious Galaxy Bookstore, and that is 12 to 3. And I've got a couple of people from the Writers Coffee House here today. So welcome. We got Ron Coleman over there, and of course our speaker. So round of applause from making the drive up from San Diego today. Let's see. Successes. This is my favorite part of the meeting. This is where I get to hear from you, where we all get to hear from you about what sorts of successes you may have had in the last 30 days. Did you start a project? Did you finish a project? Did you submit something, either a short story? Did you find an agent, or did you at least submit to an agent? Book published, etc. Is there anybody online who has something? And you do not have to be a member to participate in announcing a success, a writing related success you've had. Is there anybody online? If so, please flag us and start talking. There's got to be somebody who had a success in the last 30 days.
Hey, I had one. Steve Capone here. Can you hear me all right?
We hear you fine.
Okay. So I made my first professional rate short story sale. I've sold a lot of short stories, but this was the first one that paid 8 cents a word, which felt really good. It was to gavaguy.com, a new literary magazine. And I also got offered a contract for 3 books on Wednesday from a mid-level publisher for 3 YA historical fiction books. And that's pretty cool.
Congratulations, Steve.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be able to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve is also the publisher of, I just lost it. Tell me the name of your company.
Whisper House Press.
Thank you. Whisper House Press. That's his logo there. And he's been putting out horror anthologies. So, and I think your open call is closed, correct?
Our last open call was for social media horror, and it closed a month ago. We will reopen for general submissions for flash fiction in the space that I call mundane horror. And you can email me at editor@whisperhousepress.com if you want to know more about what that means, or check out our website. I am always looking for novellas. I need to fill 2 more spots for 2027. And again, that's for what I would call mundane horror. And yeah, folks should email me if they have questions. I'm happy to talk through what we're about.
Excellent. Send us a short thing to the shout outs on the submission page so we can put it in next month's Guild
I will.
Gazette. Okay.
Will do. Thanks.
Perfect. He was also one of our assisting editors on our anthology. So we appreciate Steve very much. Okay. Anybody in the room have a success or a project start or something? I know Ron does. Ron, go to the microphone. You've got something, don't you? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So come on. We all want to hear about good stuff.
I've got 2 things that happened. I just sold a short story that I had I had submitted somewhere else, and it didn't get accepted. And I did the work to kind of fine tune it, and got it. It just came out like 2 days ago. It's a crime in cappuccinos. It's a fun little online story. And then I sold my book, my middle grade science fiction book. No one wants to hear about that phone. But yeah, I sold my middle grade, so it'll be coming out early next year. Cody Parker and the Meteorite. So it's a middle grade science fiction that really leans into. I'm a scientist by trade, so my day job is as a scientist, and then I write at night. So I really wanted it to be educational and fun at the same time, and I found a small press that's really sees that vision, and we're gonna get it in the hands of homeschoolers and schools and stuff. So it's a fun time. So those are my good news.
Excellent. Congratulations, Ron. Okay, anybody else online? There, Trond, go ahead and unmute Trond.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I have a publishing success as well. I have a short story, The Cherry Pie Files, that came out in an anthology called Thief just last month, and quite excited about that. It's a little noir, hard-boiled detective kind of thing, so check it out.
Excellent. Thank you, Trond, for sharing that. Sandra, go ahead and unmute. Or are you just clapping with a little hand? She's Erin, yes, please.
This month, I had the good fortune to have a couple of poems as well as a couple of prose pieces. They've been selected for 2 different anthologies. One is South Broadway Press, and this is out of Denver, Colorado, and they have pictures that the print version is already for sale in local bookstores out in the Denver area. And then the other is Poets in the Pines, and this is an international journal, and they're about to do their cover reveal sometime today. That's what I heard via email. So excited for those opportunities, and I've been working on some journalistic publishing as well. I write articles on a freelance basis from time to time, and this month I was able to publish 5, which is a milestone for me in visual arts and also disability accessibility. So thank you.
Thank you, Erin. And now you all can put a live face with the Guild Gazette. She's responsible for that beautiful newsletter that came out. So thank you again. Also, she's a mom with little kids. How she does it all is beyond me. I don't get it. So I have a couple of successes. I went to the NAB show last month and got roped into being a guest on an inaugural podcast. I don't know quite how it happened. They fed me dinner and all of a sudden I had a microphone in front of me and headphones on. So I don't know when it's coming out, but it was fun to be a guest on a podcast. So that's always good to get the word out on what you're doing. Also, this month is a book signing at Mysterious Galaxy next Saturday at 2 p.m. I'll be there. Dennis will be there because he has a short story in the same one. It's the Villains Club. If you want more information on that, you can either go to Amazon or my website, mbruce.com. There's a link for you to look at that. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in the Guild. Is there anyone else online or in the room? Kevin, go ahead.
Lots of stuff, actually. One, I accidentally found that the Diamond Valley Writers Guild had a Substack account started a long time ago. Excuse me. So I've kind of branded it, and I'm going to start doing stuff on the Guild Substack, and it'll probably be stuff like our newsletters, like call outs for anthologies, maybe member books. I don't know what I'm going to use it for. And on that note, the reason I found it is because I started my own Substack. I've had a Substack account since 2020, but I'm starting to write a self-help, how to build your digital footprint and online presence for authors book. And I'm kind of doing a lot of my research and articles on Substack. And then in addition to that, I sent my editor my anthology, because I finally finished after almost 6 years of my space opera. And turns out that the last book I wrote is actually 2 books. So I'll be releasing 2 books. The first one being June 21st of this year. And the second one, hopefully sometime this fall. But yeah, it turns out that he looked at the book and says this is longer than Gone with the Wind. This is 2 books. So that's where that's at. And the Guild Substack, I will be adding the link to the social media icons right at the very top of the page, and I will also probably do a news article or something in the blog for the Substack for the Guild page. If you are a Guild member and have your own Substack, let us know, and we will, any members that follow the Guild website, we will subscribe or follow back because we want to promote members.
Thank you, Kevin. Isn't he doing a great job? He's doing a fabulous job. Okay, there's more hands, or are those clapping? Clapping, okay. Well, I can't see very well, Anyway, anyone else who has a success, something they'd like to announce? Nothing? Okay, I'm sure our speaker will have stuff during his speaking engagement. Writing tip, marketing tip, Lynette on lead magnets. Go ahead, Lynette.
Hey, good morning. I know that some of you know what a lead magnet is, and for those of you that are newer writers, it is something that you offer your readers, either a free resource or incentive, in exchange for their contact information. Now, why do you want their contact information? So that you can tell them about your book, okay? So before you even get published, go ahead, get yourself a website, and start working on a lead magnet. Now, the lead magnet, you're going to say, here's something free for you. Give me your email address. Okay, so it could be a newsletter. I have an author that I follow that has a newsletter, and she writes mostly for women. So she'll have a recipe and she'll have a home decorating tip, and then she'll kind of tell you what's going on in her world as far as her writing. It could be an exclusive short story that is only available to people who give you their email address. It could be a character sketch from one of your main characters, either in a book that you've written or one that's coming out. It could be a look at your world building, exclusive deals like maybe 10% off or something like that. It could even be an event or workshop. Maybe you're going to have an exclusive meet the author Zoom call. Anything like that that is a free resource or incentive in exchange for their contact information counts as a lead magnet. Now, the goal on the lead magnet, of course, in the long run, is to sell your book. But in the short term and in the long run, it's to build community. It's to build trust, that they want to follow you, that they want to hang out with you, that they trust what you're saying. And you don't want to sound like a salesman. If all you ever do is, hey, I got a book out there, or I got a book coming. I got a book coming in June. I published a book last June. If you're just being a salesman, people go, yeah, that's nice, and they'll move on. But let's say that you wrote The Hobbit. Don't we all wish we did? And you say, I just wrote a book about a hobbit. Here's the link. Go buy it. Hey, that's one way to do it. But what if you said, are you longing for adventure? Would you like to drop everything and just go? Join Bilbo as he does exactly that. Here's a free character sketch, and you put your link there, and they get an exclusive story. Or you need to speak to what your readers are looking for. Meet their needs, and they'll come and follow you. Now, you can also do, once you get a community built, you have to decide where you're going to nourish that community. You want to be consistent. You want to show up. So whether you're doing it on Facebook or TikTok or X or Instagram, or maybe you're just doing it straight from your website, you want to have consistency so that they know they can trust that you're going to be there. Don't sound like a salesman. Meet their needs first. Okay, so you can announce phases. Maybe you build this following. We just heard that the gentleman is going to have a science book for middle grade. Wonderful. Excellent way to have a resource. Maybe his resource is how to get your kids excited about science. And he has a checklist of 10 things you can do as a parent to get your kids excited about science. But he doesn't give his list on his website. He says, click here for your free resource. That's how you capture their contact information. That's how you start building community. Then if your book isn't out yet, you start doing exciting things like for me, my fairy tale just went to get the cover designed. So the next thing I'll do is probably say cover reveal, coming soon, that sort of thing. Build excitement. Tell them the progress of the book that you just finished. It just launched. We're going to have some book signings. Meet me here. Or it's coming in time for Christmas. Anything to build the momentum and get people excited about it. Let them feel like they're part of the journey. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We can talk some more about lead magnets. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Lynette. So if any of you have an idea for a tip, marketing tip, writing tip, maybe you just absolutely hate adverbs and you want to, vent on that. We're always looking for people to do little 3 to 5 minute tips before our main speaker at our event. So reach out to us. And again, another way that you can volunteer for the Guild. Okay, now we get to move on to our main attraction, why everybody really came here today. Woohoo! At least I know some people came here for only that. So our guest speaker today is Dennis K. Crosby. He is an author, an editor, a speaker, and a workshop leader with an MFA in creative writing. Since 2020, he has published 3 urban fantasy novels in his award-winning Cassidy Simmons series. We're down here. And 19 short stories found, I think it's 20 now, isn't it? 20 short stories, right? Aren't you? Yeah, 20 short stories found in multiple anthologies. He is the co-editor of Dread Coast, a SoCal horror tales, and has been a panelist and moderator at multiple conventions, including WonderCon, Comic-Con International, Nebula, ButcherCon, and StokerCon 2024, where he also served as the co-chair of that event. In March 2025, he was awarded the Jonathan Mayberry, who's that? Anybody ever heard of him? The Jonathan Mayberry Inspiring Teens Award from the Creative Writing Club at Canyon Crest Academy. Dennis lives in San Diego, California, where he is secretary of a local chapter of the Horror Writers Association, a member of Crime Writers of Color, and board member of Partners in Crime, the local chapter of Sisters in Crime. For more information, you can go to his website, which is denniskcrosby.com. Dennis, it's all yours.
Greetings and salutations. How are we doing this morning? I'm always expected to, see like few people, especially on a Saturday morning, because I know like mornings for me are not good. Weekend mornings are like not good. So whenever I see people out at like 9 o'clock, ready to go, I see like a lot of pens and notepads and stuff. Like you guys you're into it. So thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. As was mentioned, my name is Dennis. Just call me Dennis. I had someone call me Mr. Crosby once, and that did not feel right. Don't do that, please. If you have any questions anytime during this, please just raise your hand, let me know. Same thing for folks online. We're gonna go over a lot of different things, so I might jump around a little bit. So if you need me to come back to something, just say so. If you need me to linger on something, just say so. But we're gonna be talking about us. If you're here, you're probably like me, which means you are a card-carrying introvert. How many of those do we have in the room? How many of those online? Yeah. But it's hard for us. It's not like we don't want to be involved in stuff. It's hard to get out there sometimes. We don't know where to go. We don't know who to talk to. Sometimes you don't know how to talk to somebody. I know my first few events, I was the guy in the back, sitting the way back under the guys that I could see everything, right? I just want to be able to take everything in. I'm going to sit way back here. I tend to still do that. Sometimes, depending on who it is, I might sit in the front, but it can be a challenge for us, especially when you are a writer. You want to get your work out there, right? You want people to know who you are, buy your work, share your work with their friends and family and all those good things. And we have to kind of know how to go about doing that. We have to figure out a way that really works for us. So I developed this workshop to do that. You know, if I wish, I was just talking this morning, I said, I wish I had something like this 10 years ago, because it might have made it easier for me, or at least give me a few more tools in my toolbox that I could utilize early on in my career. So yeah, we're going to go over those things. We're going to help get you over that hump. There are going to be some things here that you might already know, and if that's the case, awesome. If there are new things here, cool, that's even better. Use what works for you. I don't want you guys thinking that everything I'm going to tell you today is gospel. It is not. You take what works for you, you leave the rest. You take what works, maybe you tweak it so that it does work for you, and then we just kind of go on from there. So we'll talk about introverts, talk about introverts types, and then we'll talk about the things that you can do as an introvert that will help you navigate this career. Show of hands, how many of you are published writers? Okay, so we're working on our first novels for a lot of folks, maybe even the fifth novel. You're working on your first publication is where it is. I've got a novel that is deep buried under somewhere. It's the first thing I ever wrote, and it is the worst thing I ever wrote. And I always go back to, I've used that character from that novel in certain stories. I've actually used it in my series, used her in my series, but yeah, she needs a lot of work and a lot of love. So I got to get back to that thing. It's not always the first novel you write that gets published, and that's fine. And that's another hump you get over when you're working out your craft as an introvert. Okay. So we'll start now. Just working. Here we go. Look at that. Look at those graphics. I just upgraded this, so if anyone saw this before, there might be some new pieces to this. If you're like me, I like to go to presentations on multiple occasions because I always pick up something new each time. So networking as an introvert, how to get your name and your book out there without going out there. COVID has made things a little different for us. It has helped us explore the opportunity to work from home in a very different way. Now, writers tend to work from home anyway, but before you had to actually go out and do things, and now you don't necessarily have to do that anymore. Some people are comfortable with that. Some people want to be out there. Some people want to do a little bit of both. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of each of those. That's me. These are my books. As Michelle mentioned, my first book, Death's Legacy, came out in 2020. It's a pandemic baby. I could not do a book launch. I did a virtual book launch instead, because I couldn't go out anywhere. Bookstores would not have us. They would sell us, but they would not have us. My second book, Death's Debt, was in 2021. Third book in that series came out 3 years ago next month, 2026, is the fourth book I'm hopeful for. I have it finished. It's on my computer as we speak. It's waiting for me to finish those final edits that I got back from my editor 3 weeks ago. Apparently I'm not in a rush, although I should be, because a lot of readers are waiting to find out what happens to this girl. When they last saw her, she was in the bowels of Tartarus, and that's never good. So, but that's coming. And I have 19 short stories out, most of them, 20 short stories out as of yesterday. Most of them are in the horror genre, but there are a couple of mysteries out there, some thrillers. One that came out yesterday is, it's in an anthology of Wizard of Oz stories. So I actually got to write an Oz story called Master Craftsman, and it pretty much is a direct prequel to Wizard of Oz. Not official, of course, because I'm not that famous, but it takes place right before Dorothy gets to the land of Oz. So it's a fun one to write. I did not realize I was mature enough to write like that. I tried, this series was actually meant to be a YA novel or YA series. I realized after the first chapter that that's not going to happen. There were a lot of adult themes in there, not adult themes, but a lot of cursing, a lot of nudity, but it is fun. I have been labeled as a horror writer. I don't just write horror. These are urban fantasy. Like I said, my short fiction has a lot of horror in it, but also some mystery and some thriller as well. As a writer, if you have a certain genre that you like to write in, go ahead and do it. But if you like to write around, you don't want to just date one person, you want to play the field, go ahead and do that. These networking opportunities will help kind of open that up a little bit more for you as well. All right, that's me. Again, you'll see that shirt in a lot of pictures. That is my con shirt. That is my presentation shirt. The only reason I'm not wearing it today is because I wore it yesterday, my first day at my new job. But you may see it next week if you come to Mysterious Galaxy before I sign it. All right, so what is an introvert? I'm going to ask you this question. Anyone in the audience want to tell me what an introvert is? Or what you believe it to be? It's not a test, so don't worry.
So, someone who gathers energy in solitude.
That came from Dr. Ronald Coleman. An introvert is someone who gains energy from solitude. Anyone else have another idea or thought about what an introvert is? Leave it to the doctor. Is that what we're doing? Just to go ahead and answer the question. The term introvert and extrovert were coined by Carl Jung, and he describes them as personality types determined by how they get or spend energy. So, introverts, we tend to turn inward. We use our own minds and our interests to recharge. Like, how many of you, you get home after a day of work and you shut the door, you shut the windows, you turn the phone off or put it in a different room? If you have people at home, you shut yourself off in a different room, or you tell them to go get something in another town so that you have a couple hours by yourself, right? We like to find our own way to recharge. We don't want to be rushed. We want to do the thing that works for us. We want to do the thing that feels right for us in our own time period, right? Nothing wrong with that. Extroverts, these crazy folks, they get their energy from other people, like vampires. Nothing wrong with extroverts. We love them. We need them, quite frankly, right? We need them in our lives to help us get through a lot of our own ups and downs. But they thrive in giant groups. They thrive in places where there's a lot of people, where there's a lot of activity going on. We can do that. Some of our types, some of our introvert types actually do that pretty well. We just might need a longer time to recover, and we're going to go into that a little bit. So, well-known introverts. Keanu Reeves, that's kind of a given, right? You don't really see him a lot, although, he's in movies, dude's got a band, he's out there. But you don't hear about, controversies because he's not out there, right? He's not the one that's got scandals. Barack Obama, you wouldn't think that a president of the United States would be an introvert, right? A leader of a country, leader of the biggest country on the planet. But yes, very much so, an introvert. Queen Elizabeth was an introvert. Agatha Christie, not too much of a surprise there, right? She was a bit of a recluse. You didn't really see her out much. But this just goes to show you that you can obviously be a successful writer, successful at your craft, and still be an introvert. Hope is not lost for us. There's opportunity out there. So how do you know if you are an introvert? I show this sometimes, and people they look at it and ooh, that's me. And then they go, oh, but that's also me. And that's okay, right? There's no one way to be an introvert. We accept all of you. It's all good. But some of this might actually relate to you. Introverts tend to be cautious and reflective. They love to read. Have a few close, true friends. I tell people this, and sometimes they don't believe it because they look at my social media and they see me out with a lot of people, a lot of different people all the time. I don't know those folks. No, I'm kidding. I do know them, but I can count probably on two hands people that are closest to me, things that I would share, where the bodies are buried type people, We tend to be excellent listeners, and that is because we're the ones sitting in the back taking things in. We like to learn as much about our environment as possible. We want to know what we're getting into before we actually step foot into it, make sure that it's going to be a comfortable environment for us. Tend to be quiet in class. I was not always quiet in class in high school. I was a bit of a clown. I was the guy that would show up late and gaslight my teacher and say, I've been here the whole time. Yeah, don't do that. If there's any young people out there, don't do that. We like to give people energy. We are empaths, right? We see somebody that's down, not doing well, we want to help them out. We want them to feel good. And so we will share some of that energy with other people. At the same time, we like to be alone. There's nothing like a Friday night with a little bourbon. Don't worry about that. We'll talk about that later too. And a Cubs game or a movie. Might be horror, might be a thriller. I've been watching a lot of Family Feud clips lately because they show those on Amazon. So I can watch it like, in increments, small increments at a time. Those are fun. But we like that alone time. We like the quiet time because it helps us just decompress from all the pressures of the day, of the week, of the month, of our existence, whatever that might look like. We hate small talk. It's not so much that we hate the small talk, we just crave talk that has substance. We like conversations that have some depth. We don't want to just talk about the weather. We want to talk about how the weather might be affecting other people, other climates, other countries. We want to kind of dig in a little bit. We want to know more and connect more with folks and how things are affected or how people might be affected by those things. We tend to say what we mean. We work well one-on-one. We can be intense. I raise my hand to that one. We concentrate well, and we tend to be cat people. Now, I don't hate cats. I had a cat once. I prefer dogs. It's okay though. Sometimes they're tiny like a cat, but I am a dog lover. So see, some things fit, some things don't. Extroverts. They tend to be responders. They're highly active. They establish multiple fluid relationships. What that means is they've got relationships with people in different areas, right? For example, I know a bunch of writers. I know a bunch of social workers. I know a bunch of psychiatrists. I'm in that field. Don't worry, I'm not like escaped from the hospital or anything, I promise. I know a scientist. I know people that work in the news. I know people that work in government. All these things, right? Extroverts have pockets of people in very different areas because sometimes, as much as they like to get that energy from other people and like to be out there, they have different areas that they're interested in. And so they like to have pockets of folks in those different areas so that they can engage properly. We talked about this. They draw energy from other people. They're very sociable. They love chatting. A lot of small talk. I know folks that, I've met them, we've talked, and they will talk the whole time. I might get like 5 sentences in. That's okay. Maybe that's what they needed at the time. Speak without thinking. How many people know folks that speak without thinking? Yeah, I know some folks that do that, yeah. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad people. It just means that they like to engage. They like to have those conversations. They like to bring things up. Sometimes it's spontaneous. Sometimes it's something they've been noodling on for a while. I've done this. I've said some things that I probably should not have said in any context. So it's not just an extrovert thing, but that is kind of a characteristic of some of the folks in that group. They like to work in groups. I'm not a fan of this. Take yourself back to high school. Remember that group project you had to do? Yeah, how many of you had to do that by yourself while the other 4 folks? Right, exactly. I was thinking about this a couple days ago. When I was in 6th grade, I wrote a play for Cinco de Mayo. It was supposed to be a group project. And I may have pushed the other ones out just because I wanted to get it done. But also, why did they just leave it up to me? Come on. Extroverts are easygoing. They're easily distracted. Ooh, squirrel. They tend to be dog people and they tend to be cat people. They can't decide on anything. Again, we love extroverts. We do. We need them, right? There's a symbiotic relationship with them and with us. There are things that we can learn from them. There are conversely some things that they could learn from us. They won't because they're extroverts. They got it all handled. I don't mean to disparage my friends. They are wonderful people. So we're going to talk about the 4 types of introverts. Now, again, there might be 4 types. Doesn't mean that you are one of those 4. You could be a combination of those. There could be some elements of each that really fit who you are. And that, again, is okay. A lot of that depends on your environment. how you grew up. Did you grow up, a single child? Did you have siblings? Small town, big town, city, major city, international. All of those things can kind of impact how you relate to other folks. But again, there could be some characteristics in each of these that kind of fit for you. And that tends to be the case with me. There's a lot of each of these that kind of work with me and have stuck with me throughout my life. So there's a social introverts. They enjoy socializing with people, but they know they need to recharge. Tend to partner with extroverts in larger events. Here's why we need them. So when you see them, don't run from them. Maybe pull them in. Have them come and help you out. They prefer meaningful, substantive conversations over small talk. Social introverts go out, they do their thing, and then they need a day or two to recover. My experience in that is I go to WonderCon every year pretty much. I go to Comic-Con. Last year I was at VoucherCon, which is a mystery writers convention. It was down in New Orleans. Next month I will be at StokerCon again, and that is in Pittsburgh. So there's a large group of individuals that I'll be around, right? When I get back after that 4 days, unfortunately I have to go back to work the very next day. I could use 4 days just to recover, right? You know that you need that time. If you are that person, that's okay. Just means that you need that alone time to recharge. Schedule that time in if you can, right? If you've got a conference you're going to and it's like a Thursday to Sunday, if at all possible, try to take that Monday off, maybe even a Tuesday, because you need that alone time. You need that time to just kind of reflect on what you went through and what you're going to use from what you learned moving forward. A lot of information passes hands in those conferences. There's a lot of things that you get downloaded on, and it's hard to just focus on it while you're there. You need that time to understand it, to go through it, and then just to recover for yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, all those things. You got the thinking introverts. These are cognitive, logical thinkers. The daydreamer, they're more introspective. Have you ever caught yourself just kind of sitting and staring at the wall, looking outside? I was doing that this morning, as a matter of fact. I was just literally staring directly ahead, trying to just figure things out, right? Things come to you, especially as writers. You're going to have ideas that pop in your head all the time. Things that can make a story great, things that can fix a plot hole. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of what we do. It's part of our craft. But it happens in everyday life too. Things will come up, you'll hear about a news report, you'll hear something that happened to a friend of yours, and you'll be like, oh my God, and you just kind of sit there and contemplate. Or you'll have those, what would I do if moments? And you kind of fall down this rabbit hole for an hour, 2 hours, a day, 2 days, whatever it takes. Thinking introverts tend to get into the weeds with things, and that's, again, okay. Thinking introverts tend to be good writers because they can spot the plot holes in their novels and fix those before they send them out somewhere. But you do get like deep into the weeds, and again, that's okay. Just make sure you don't fall too far that you can't pull yourself out. Anxious introverts. This is what people tend to think introverts are mostly. Shy, uneasy, craving solitude. Over-preparing so they don't make a mistake. They feel uneasy and self-conscious in social situations. Perfectionists, they can be at times, right? I have a group of friends who like to go. They're always constantly working. You give them a project, should take 30 minutes. Sometimes it'll take 4 hours because they are analyzing each and every component of that. Not because they're just perfectionists, because they want to make sure they get it right. Nobody wants to go into a situation where they have to present something to people and it's wrong. There's something that's incorrect. You don't necessarily want to be called out on something. You don't want to be embarrassed. Those are the things that go through our minds as anxious introverts. And so we're constantly looking at things, double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking, making sure everything is right. Some of us get so paralyzed by that we just don't do it. We stop that project, we walk away from it, we do something else completely. Don't let that happen to you. Everybody who goes through this, nobody wants to do something incorrect. Nobody wants to make a mistake, especially in a public forum or in front of a group of people. Don't let that be the thing that stops you, though, from getting that piece done. We'll talk about some tools that you can use to kind of address that in a bit. And there's the restrained introverts. They don't want to rush. They need time to plan. They like a routine. They need forewarning before a change. I am the guy that if you call me on Friday and say, hey, we're getting together tomorrow and doing this, we're going to meet at 8, we're going to drive up here, you should come. No, I should not. You should have called me on Monday because it is now Friday. I have already decided what I'm doing tomorrow, which is nothing. Now you're going to mess this all up. No, not having it. I'm not as flexible as I used to be. And maybe I never was. I don't know. Maybe I just did those things just because. I don't know. But I like to have planning. Like if you haven't given me enough time to emotionally and psychologically prepare for people and the things that people are going to do and say, I'm probably going to back out. I might say yes, and then that morning I'm going to call you and say, oh, I'm feeling a sore throat, COVID again. I don't know, something. You need to be prepared for things, and that's okay. What's important about each of these traits is knowing what you are, but knowing how you are and being honest with yourself. If you know that you're a person that doesn't like to do things last minute, don't say yes to something at the last minute. It's okay. Whatever that is will come around again, or something else will come around again, and that's perfectly fine. Don't feel like you have to do it if you're not really into it. It might not go well. Now, I have had some instances where I've done things at the last minute and it's been okay. But I know in the back of my mind, I also said, I'm not doing anything tomorrow, but if something comes up, I might go ahead and do that. So I have kind of left a little bit for myself to say, I'm open to this. To make sure that I don't hate it completely and hate everyone around me and snap at them and yell at them and then leave early and not say goodbye, which I've done. Don't tell anybody. Any questions about these introvert types? Yes.
No matter which category you fall in, your tribe is out there somewhere.
Absolutely.
You can find them.
Absolutely.
In high school, I was a total social introvert. I didn't fit into any of the groups. I just felt like walking around,
Yeah.
stuff going on, and I wasn't part of it. But then I started going to the library and I walked down the couch.
Mm-hmm.
I felt people just
Yeah.
Actually, we formed a club, a freak club, because we were the freaks,
So no one on Zoom can hear any of this because you're not at the mic? If you have a question, let's go to the mic. Otherwise, the people on Zoom are left out.
Yeah, I'll repeat it a little bit. He said essentially that what this shows is that there's a tribe for you out there. You can find your people. And that is very true. He talked about, when he was in high school and how he didn't really have a group, but then he found a group when he would go to the library after lunch. I had the same thing. When I was in high school, I had a different group of friends each year. It wasn't because I didn't like those folks. I just kind of got tired of them, and I would switch friend groups. And then junior year, I started working. And so I had a different group of friends at work. So I had high school, I had the work group, and I had family. So I had different pockets of folks that I could hang out with, do things with, and it would all feed whatever introvert type I might have been feeling that particular day. That's a good thing too. It's not just exclusive to extroverts to have pockets of friends in different groups. Sometimes you need that. There are some times when I want to sit around and talk about writing all day. I'm not going to do that with a social worker. They might like it, but it might not be as interesting for me. I feel like I'm dominating the conversation. I want some give and take. So I will go to talk to writers about those things. I will not go to a writers group and talk about social work. I will not talk about, being a PI and chasing people in small towns. Everyone has different sections. The hard part is knowing when and when not to cross those groups. Sometimes it doesn't work as well as you think it would. but again, there's ways around that. But yes, there are different tribes out there. You can find yours, and you will find yours. You just have to find the way to kind of get into that social group. And we'll talk about that in a bit. All right. So, I'm very much a geek. Pop culture, I love superhero stuff, so I tend to put superheroes in everything that I do, either that or Star Wars. I tend to think of these abilities of ours as introverts as superpowers, right? All those characteristics, those are the things that make us who we are, make us our own individual, and those are things that we can use to be successful in whatever path we choose in life. So now that you know what the introvert types are, what do you do with those superpowers? Don't put on tights and a cape. I'll tell you that right now. It's not going to go well. I did that once. We burned those photos. Superpowers. Talk to me about this kid here, looking up into the sky, pondering. What is he doing? Thinking. I see a lot of people touching their heads. Yes, thinking. Introverts think more. We're better at it. Not that we are better at it, and it's not overthinking either. What it is our ability to think, analyze things. We think about things rationally. We think about things in a logical way. We're looking for ways to make sense of something, right? Some people will think we are overthinking, and they'll say, stop overthinking it, just do it. It's not that you're overthinking, you're just thinking about the different possibilities that could arise from a certain situation. It's like going out with a group of folks. What if you're invited to an outing and your ex-spouse or significant other is going to be there? Damn right you're going to overthink that. Should I go? Should I not go? If I go, are we going to fight? What if he or she brings someone else? What's that going to look like? Am I going to fight them? Yes. If you're from Chicago, the answer is yes. If you're from New York, the answer is definitely yes. But you're thinking about all the possibilities, because those possibilities could make or break your day. If things that go wrong, that is going to impact how you feel about yourself. It's going to impact the way you think others think about you. So you want to be prepared. You're not overthinking things. You are analyzing and looking at things in a logical manner and anticipating what could happen so that you are prepared. You don't like to be caught off guard as an introvert. It's that last day thing. Don't call me on Friday for something happening Saturday. You knew it was happening on Saturday 3 weeks ago. Why didn't you call me 3 weeks ago? That simple. Works well for writers. You're not overthinking, you're analyzing your story. Does this make sense? I can't have this person die in chapter 5 and then in chapter 8 have them talking about, what their day was like. Didn't I kill them already? Oh, that's a plot hole. I need to go back and fix that. Oh, wait, their eyes are brown. I think I said they were blue in chapter 1. Let me fix that. I read a book 10 years ago, and a character's name changed from the page 3 to page 9. And I was like, what? Oh, ooh, that's ugly. That's ugly. You don't want that. How about this next one? You got a clock, you got a person holding a pen and a pad. What do you think's happening there? Scheduling, time management. It's focus. Introverts can focus longer because we enjoy spending time alone. Introverts tend to be more willing than extroverts to put in hours by themselves in order to master a skill. When I first moved out here to San Diego 12 years ago, told everybody back home I was going to start writing. And every month, every year, people are, how's your writing going? When's your book coming out? How's your writing going? When's your book coming out? How's your writing going? When's your book? And I was like, dude, I need you to calm down. Like I'm learning still, right? What is to learn? All you got to do is write a story and publish it. There's stuff out there all the time. Yeah, there is, but there's things I need to know, right? There's things I need to understand. I need to understand what the three-act structure means. I need to understand what a plot device is. I need to understand how to end a story. I need to know how to build tension. There are still parts of this craft that I have to learn in order to get a story right, or as close to right as I possibly can. So we take the time to learn that, right? We're willing to take as long as it takes to make sure that we get it right. The problem is, some of us will take so long and we will continue to use that as an excuse. I'm still learning. It's not ready yet. Sometimes you got to get to the point where you just put that thing out there, which again is why I wish I had this 10 years ago, because I probably would have put stuff out a long time ago. It's a common trait. It's a common trait among authors, and surprisingly, a lot of authors are introverts. Imagine that. So we focus longer. We're ready to kind of put that time in. What helped me was the fact that as a kid, I grew up, when I lived with my mom, I was an only child, right? So I spent a lot of time alone or with my dog, and I was happy. I was a PI. Told you guys that the last time I was here speaking, right? 7 years as a PI, sitting in a car, waiting. I can't force somebody to do something stupid. I gotta wait for them to do it. Oftentimes it happened as soon as I had to go to the bathroom. Oh, there's nothing like that in the world, right? But we have to be willing to take our time with things. You have to be willing to kind of sit in silence, sit with your own thoughts, and just let things happen while you're still absorbing and learning. And we are more willing to do that than extroverts, traditionally speaking. This kid with the apple looks like a very studious kid. Introverts are often gifted in very specific fields. We tend to demonstrate above average intelligence or superior talent for something, typically music or the arts. Those that excel in those things, music, arts, math, 70% of them, statistically speaking, are introverts. Because one, they focus longer, they studied longer, they take the time to learn their craft. They also thought about the things that they were doing. They did the deep dive, right? They took their time in learning, and they overthunk. Is overthunk a word? It's gonna be. I'm a writer. I can do anything I want. How many of you feel like you're gifted in a very specific area? Yes, I do sometimes. That's a good thing. Introverts also tend to do the right thing. Doesn't mean that we are the most law-abiding people. Again, I'm a former PI. I broke a lot of laws in order to get my clients happy and satisfied. But what it does mean is that we're less swayed by external noise, right? If there's a large group of folks saying, oh, we should be going to do that, introverts would be like, should we though? Should I? If it doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, we're not going to do it. And we're okay with that because we're okay being alone. We're okay with it because we've thought about it, we've analyzed it, we looked at it logically, and we said, it's not going to work for me. I'm not that person. We also recognize that we have a certain skill in something, and we want to master that skill. So instead of going off to that crowd and doing whatever the hell they're doing, we're going to chill. We'll be at home. We'll be at the library. We'll be at the coffee shop. We'll be somewhere mastering the skill that really drives us, that fulfills us, that just feeds our soul. Ron Money Coleman, come to the mic.
I have a question about the direction of causality, essentially. Does, with like being gifted, does a gifted person become more introverted as they spend time learning their things, or is it being introverted that allows them the intellectual bandwidth to become gifted, sort of? You know, I mean, I could see
Yeah.
Is there a choice in being an introvert in a way?
I don't think you become more introverted as you go. I think it's just kind of a part of your personality and who you are. And that, again, a lot of that goes into the environment in which you come from, right? Some of it's, is it nature or nurture, right? Is it biology, or is it the way, the area that you grew up in, the family you grew up in? It's a combination of all of those things. All of those pieces kind of make you who you are. So you're not going to become more introverted over time. You are just an introvert. But you'll use those skills for the things that interest you, and you'll pursue those skills. Maybe you'll study more in science, and you'll become a master molecular biologist, and you'll, cure diseases and whatnot, and then write YA books. That's a good thing. All of those pieces early on make you who you are. What you can choose is how you decide to use those skills, right? How you decide to use those skills as an introvert. Whether you are or not, it's a matter of, give you an example. High school, I used to dread getting up in front of people. Have to give those presentations like, once a month in history class or in English class. You got to read something. You got to practice something. You got to share something that you've studied and learned in school. This was me that entire time, and the paper typically was shaking. And you know how to tell you got to look up at your audiences? That was who I was. It is much easier for me to speak in front of folks now, right? Speak in front of this crowd. I can be on a panel at Comic-Con. I can give a presentation to 1,000 folks and be okay, because I've learned to utilize my introvert skills. I've learned how to tailor them so that it works for me in a way that doesn't make me feel uncomfortable or uncertain about certain things. The other thing that makes you more comfortable as an introvert is when you know something fairly well, right? I can't give a presentation on how a cell splits. Ron can, and he can go on for about an hour for it probably. Probably wouldn't need that long. It's a very simple thing, but he can tell you a lot of stuff about it, and he would do it comfortably in front of this room. I would not. So you lean into your skills, you lean into the things that interest you, you learn more about those, and as you become more comfortable, everything else becomes more comfortable. All right, so what now? What the hell am I going to do with this information, Dennis? You've been up here for, 30, 40 minutes. Tell me who I am. What does that mean for me? It means that there are events out there that are going to work for you. Remember, I said social introverts. We enjoy socializing with folks, but we know that we need a recharge. Thinking introverts. We are thinkers. We like to daydream. We get more introspective. Anxious introverts. We're shy. We're uneasy. Restrained introverts. We don't like to rush. We need forewarning for change. We prefer to remain in the background. We're better working with groups and letting kind of that group take the lead, and we chill in the back until it's our time to shine. Told you about that shirt, right? These events are like 2 years apart, but that's my shirt. So what are good introverts or social introverts? What are good events for us to attend? Pop culture or genre conferences. How many of you have been to a writer's conference? How many of you enjoyed it when you went? How many of you were nervous about going when you signed up for it? I was terrified. I went to my first conference in 2017. Smaller group, it was probably less than 200 people. Southern California Writers Conference I went to, and it was in Irvine at the time. They used to have them in Irvine the fall of the year, and then down in San Diego in the spring or February. Now it's January. But I was terrified. I'm like, I go into this and I know there's going to be a bunch of writers there who probably know more than I do. They probably didn't, but I assumed they did because I felt like I knew nothing. They probably already knew each other. They're going to sit in little groups, they're going to talk, and I'm going to sit over here by myself with my iced mocha and a biscuit, just watching them have all kinds of fun. Or, worse than that, I'd go to a panel and then beat it up to my room and just chill there the rest of the day. Learning nothing more, learning no more about anybody else. That was my fear. But that is not the case. You will find, if you have not already, that the writing community is one of the most open communities on the planet. The writing community in San Diego and Southern California in general is more robust, I feel, than most others. I had a hard time finding a writing community in Chicago. Now, part of that was because I didn't know where to look. I didn't know where to look, and when I did find a place to go, I did not feel welcome. That was not their issue, that was mine. I have since learned that the writing community in Chicago is very robust. There's a lot of things that happen there, and sometimes I'm like, damn, I should move back. I can hang with them. No, I'm good in Southern California. I don't have those thoughts in December or January. Going out to these conferences, going out to these pop culture events, going out to do the things that feed your soul, that feed your interest, that is the perfect spot for a social introvert. You get to explore, you get to meet people, you get to learn different things. Coming here to this meeting in person, even online, is an ideal way for you to learn more about yourself and your craft. You will make friends here, right? You'll see people online on the on Zoom. You pop the name up, and then at some point you're going to finally find them on Facebook or Instagram, because our phones are listening and following us with everything we do. I had a conversation about Barron's the other day, grocery store, and I got 17 ads the next day on my Facebook page. Ridiculous. Never seen a Barron's ad before in my life. So every day when I wake up, I whisper Charlize Theron into my phone, hoping something might happen. We'll see. Pop culture or genre conferences. So Comic-Con, WonderCon, DragonCon, all these things, they invite everything. There's sci-fi, there's fantasy, there's mystery, there's all this fun stuff going on. You can choose to embed yourself in it and where you want to. You don't have to, dress up unless you want to. There are so many different ways for you to kind of fill your cup at those conferences and learn more, right? It's not just about being on the floor and spending $1,000 on a Funko Pop. It is about going to those panels and listening to those people talk about their TV shows or their books or whatever they're doing to become more of an expert on something that interests you. And you meet more people. Sometimes by accident, sometimes because it's meant to be, but it happens. There are genre conferences. Thriller Fest was just last weekend. It's put on by the International Thriller Festival, or Thriller Writers Association. People that write thrillers are there. If that is your interest, you are going to meet those folks, from best-selling authors to folks with movie deals to a person that just started writing that day. All of those folks have something to share with you. All those are opportunities for you to learn something new about yourself and about the craft. VoucherCon, I told you I was there last year in New Orleans. I went partly because it was New Orleans, but also because I'm writing a mystery novel. I wrote a mystery novel that needs some work. But I want to be in that community. I want to know who those folks are. And you'll also find a lot of crossover. There's a lot of folks at VoucherCon that I'm going to see at StokerCon, which is the Horror Writers Association's conference. We all kind of dip and dab in a lot of different areas. You'll meet people that are much like you, different interests, different ways about doing things, and you'll learn something a bit from all of those folks. You will need time to recover. These are 3-4 day conferences, some of them 5. Some of these things are all day. This San Diego Festival of Books, LA Festival of Books, that's a whole weekend event in LA. I went for 3 hours last month. It was enough. It was hot too. It was surprisingly hot. But I had a good time. I met other writers. I met new readers. I met people that are interested in things that I do, and I was able to share with them what I do, why I do it. And when I got home that night, I crashed. I did not do anything in the next couple of days. Benefits to being a social introvert and going out to those conferences. Exposes you to new colleagues and readers. Demonstrates your passion, like Mr. Mar there, I need an editor. Demonstrates your passion and or expertise. Allows you to work with others, extroverts, and allows you to conserve energy by sharing duties. This picture is from the San Diego Festival of Books last year. This table is for the Horror Writers Association chapter in San Diego. We got a table, we shared it, we all sold our books. Nobody had to be at the front. Nobody had to be the main face of the table. Everybody mixes in and dabbles. So you can get as involved as you want or not. Sometimes you'll find there's kind of a person that takes the lead on a lot of stuff, and people are walking by, they look at your table, they're not sure, and you get that one dude or that one woman that says, come on over. Mind you, surprisingly, that's me. I don't know why. Not even to sell my book. I asked them, what do you like to read? You like hardcore horror? You like some horror with some fantasy in it? What do you like? And then I point them to the author they should talk to. I send them to the book that they should probably buy. I hope that it's mine. Otherwise, I came there for almost nothing. But if it's not, that's okay. We're all one big community. We share in each other's success, or at least we should. People might not buy your book that day, and that's okay. They may take your business card or a postcard. They might take a photo with you. They might take a photo of your book. Maybe they'll buy it later. I tend to find that when I go to events, whether I sell a lot of books or not, I tend to see a lot of my orders go up. So my KDP orders, Amazon, people will buy more of my ebooks or the print book. They might buy some hardcovers. I'll see more traffic coming to my sites because I'm out there. I don't have to put in a whole lot of work. And that's just what I need as an introvert. Thinking introverts. People that think about a lot of things, that kind of do that deep dive, that daydream, so to speak, right? That are thinking about all the possible ways to do things. We've thought about it so much. We've looked at different ways to accomplish a goal. We've looked at different ways to finish a project. So much so that we've almost become an expert on it, or at least expert enough to share that information with other folks, kind of like I'm doing now. We thrive when we're speaking about things we're passionate about. Being a guest speaker, a keynote speaker, being on a panel kind of establishes you as an expert of a certain thing, or at the very least, very knowledgeable about a certain thing. There might be people in the audience that know more than you. That's fine. I guarantee you they will still learn something. You guys had Mayberry here a 2 months ago? He speaks everywhere. He's always willing to share his information. And the one thing he says is that when he goes to these things, when he goes to panels, when he goes to meetings, or even when he's leading these things, he always comes away with something that he did not know before. He's an expert in his field. I think we can all agree on that. But he's an expert enough to know that he doesn't know everything and that there's still more to absorb, right? You might not think you're an expert in something or overly knowledgeable about something, but what you share is necessary for somebody that knows next to nothing or somebody that wants to know a little bit more. Even if they know what you're presenting, it might spark an idea in them. These things can happen. You get to share the challenges that you faced as a writer, as a fledgling writer. I've been published 6 years. I've been writing more than that. And there are a lot of things that I've learned along the way, and there are a lot of things I'd like to share with folks so that they can hopefully take a detour, or at the very least, when they hit that spot, they might have an idea about what to do based on what I did. Maybe they don't do the exact thing that I did. Maybe they tweak it a little bit so it works better for them. But the information's out there, right? I've been able to share that so that they are more prepared when that happens. You open the door to market yourself and by extension your work. Most sales from your book are not necessarily because of the book itself. It's because of you as the writer, because people are buying into who you are as an individual, just like any sales job. I spent 13 years in retail sales. Worked for Home Depot, another home improvement center before that. Sold lumber, millwork, building materials. I could teach someone how to build a deck. I could teach someone how to install a door. If they came in and said, I need this, I said, okay, cool. Guess what else you need? I wouldn't just come in with that, though. I would ask them questions. I get to know them. How big's your home? How big's your family? What are you looking for? What kind of door do you need? You need something that's more secure, or are you just looking for something to access easily? We talk about those things. We talk about the different types. And then after, 15 or so minutes, 20 minutes, then I can dive in. Well, you know what you're going to need with that door? A doorknob, of course. You know what? You should get some better hinges than the ones that come with this. You know what would look great in this? A window. I have some over here. You know what you need to install that window? A little sawzall, cut a hole out, insert that window. You might need a screwdriver. So they're buying all these other things because they trust me, because they found some type of kinship with me. That's the same that's going to happen for you and your readers. So when you get up in front of folks, there are going to be people out there that will connect with you as an individual. They'll connect with you as a kindred author. Someone who has experienced some of the same things you're going through now, start to follow you. And when your book comes out, or if you have books out, they will then go and look at those. Will they buy them? Maybe. If they don't, that's okay. What might also happen is they will tell their niece or nephew, they will tell their cousin, they will tell their boss, who they know loves that type of genre. They'll say, you know what, I met this person. They are so damn cool. You should buy this book. Networking is more than just selling the product in front of you. It's selling yourself, and it's selling your future work, and it's helping you reach out to folks beyond the person in front of you. Hopefully, one of you will leave here today and say, I'm not reading urban fantasy. That's not my jam. But my barber likes it. My hairstylist loves it. I'm going to tell them about Dennis. And maybe they'll buy my book. Who knows? But thinking introverts, getting up in front of people, sharing your information, sharing what you've gone through, that is an excellent way to, one, break out of your shell, but two, to network, to build that network of readers and of peers. Expand your brand. You got to get more comfortable saying yes to opportunities. Again, unless it's Friday night and someone wants to go out the next day, you've already decided you haven't. Don't say yes to the opportunity if you don't want to. But if you got the opportunity to say yes to something, say yes to it. More than that. 4 years ago, I said yes to the HWA, the Horror Writers Association, about being a participant in developing StokerCon, that annual conference. We actually had it in San Diego 2 years ago. I said yes to being one of the organizers, one of the co-chairs. It did a couple things for me. One, it got me to understand how conferences work, and I now have a better appreciation for folks that put on big things like Comic-Con and WonderCon. I don't yell at people anymore when a room is full, because I get it. I don't yell at people anymore if my badge isn't there, because I get it. I understand. But I said yes to the opportunity, and it got me a chance to do things. It got me a chance to be a part of the programming, got me a chance to meet Paul Tremblay. He was a guest of honor that year, and I did his guest of honor interview. Would not have happened if I had not have said yes. VoucherCon, New Orleans. You know that guy, right? He's been here before. He was a guest of honor at VoucherCon. I've known him since I moved here. Actually, we share the same birthday. It's on Monday, both of us. Thank you. Thank you. But we have become good friends, right? VoucherCon, he's a guest of honor. He needs someone to do his interview. He said, hey, you're going to VoucherCon, right? I said, yes. He goes, you want to interview me? I said, yes, I do. Didn't even think about it. The reason I say yes to a lot of stuff is because of him. Sometimes that gets me in trouble. Sometimes I say yes to too many things, but then I figure it out. But had I not said yes, I would not have been there. So I did his interview. I was a moderator on a different panel as well. I was a panelist on something else completely. Because I have a reputation now for going out to these conferences and meeting people and getting information out there, and for sharing the things that I know, and for absorbing things, not only from the audience members, from the other panelists too. It helps build my network. So now my name sometimes pops up in rooms that I'm not in. That's okay. It's great, in fact. See? Shirt. See what I'm saying? That's my brand too. I don't have that hat anymore. I've upgraded my hats. I now have 5 hats. That one is gone. It's been retired, but I have some others that are just delightful. I'll be putting more orders in this year. My friend Christina Griffin, she had her debut novel come out 3 years ago, I think it was. And she asked me to be her in conversation with partner for her launch at Mysterious Galaxy. Because she trusts me, she knows me, she feels comfortable talking with me. I've done it with 3 authors there, with her, my friend Elle Geoffrey, who writes mystery novels, and Christina Henry, who is a horror writer. She's actually out of Chicago. She was coming to San Diego, asked me to be her in conversation partner. Again, it's a part of that networking. It's part of putting yourself out there. It's part of saying yes to things so that people know who you are by name, or at least think they know who you are. I've heard that name. You look it up. I met that guy. I heard that guy. I saw him standing next to somebody in the back because he's an introvert, but he seemed cool. So let's follow him and see what happens. Anxious introverts. You have to find ways to feel comfortable with things, right? We overthink things sometimes. We will talk ourselves out of things, and that's okay. Sometimes in those situations, it's best to have a partner. Christine and I, again, she's the chair of our local chapter of the HWA in San Diego. We decided to co-edit a book. Co-edited an anthology last year. It's a charity anthology. All the proceeds went toward wildfire relief from the fires in LA last year. And we're part of that team, along with Teresa Halverson, who will be here next month. No Bad Books Press. She published that book for us. And we worked together. I could not edit a book by myself. 1, I'd never done it before. 2, I was terrified of the notion. Nothing gets you anxious like saying, hey, we're going to have people submit stories to you and you're going to put this thing together and then send it out. I don't know. Never done it. I don't know what that's like. I'm not ready yet. I was, however, ready to work with someone else who'd been involved in something like that before. We could share responsibilities. She is much more of a type A person than I am. So she makes sure we're on task with a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that I'm good at that I could do then in the background. Speaking, sure. See that one. Book Carnival. I got asked to do a presentation for, I can't remember which writers group it was. Regardless of what it was, that's where I was. Small group, kind of like this. Probably one of the first times I actually did a presentation too. You can find comfort in doing things like that with smaller groups. You can find comfort in doing podcasts, being interviewed, for published articles. Again, partner with people on projects, go to smaller venues, work with people that you know. You're going to establish a very small network of folks right off the bat, right? Work with those folks, grow together as introverts. You guys can share information together. You can kind of share that journey as well. That way it's not just you making a mistake, it's both of you making a mistake. But you learn from those mistakes, right? Things that you're not strong in, they might be. Things they're not strong in, you might be. It's a great symbiotic relationship, and it eases that anxiety that you might be feeling. Restrained introverts. We like to be prepared for things, right? We like to be more in control. The best way to do that is the utilization of social media. If you are not following me, I encourage you to. Why? Because I'm a good time. I like to celebrate my successes. I also like to celebrate others' successes. When your book comes out, I'm going to post it on my page. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to share links to it. If you're giving a presentation somewhere, I'm going to post it on my page. Even if I'm not able to go to it, somebody in my network might be. I want you to succeed. Restrained introverts have this ability to share that stuff out, make sure that people can get all the info that they need. Selective socialization. You get to decide when and where you go. I am good for about one out-of-state conference and maybe like 3 or 4 in-state. Of those, only a couple of them can be huge. So this year, I did WonderCon, I'll do StokerCon next month, I'll be at Comic-Con in July. For the big stuff, that's it. I'm not gonna be able to do anymore because I know I can't handle it. But I'll do some smaller things. I'll go to the San Diego Festival of Books. That's a much, at least in my mind, a much smaller event. But it's also an event where I can share the wealth with the rest of my group. But I get to decide when I go, where I go, how I go, and how much I engage. Write. That's what we do, right? That's what our job is, to write, to create, to storytell. You get to define your own success. Is being a best-selling author success? Yes. Maybe it's not a success for some folks. Maybe that's not their level of success. Maybe just finishing a book is. Maybe getting it on the shelf is. Who knows? You get to decide what that is. And as I said earlier, celebrate other people. People get this notion that being a writer is a very competitive thing, right? If they promote other folks, then people won't read their work. Or if they share an opportunity with another writer, they're going to lose that opportunity. It's not the case. It's a big pool. And there's a lot of space for all of us. There's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with sharing in the success of other folks. One, it lets your community know you're not a jerk. And it gets you invited to things. I'm going to tell you right now, I know a few jerks in the industry. And I will not work when I know that they are involved in something. I will support them, like I'll be there and I might send people to their table because they've got good work out there. They've got stuff that people want to read and should read. But I might not work with them one-on-one. It's okay. There's plenty of space for all of us. They have their audience, I have mine. They go about doing things their way, I go about doing things my way. It's not going to stop me. Shouldn't stop me. It shouldn't stop you either. There's safety and control in social media. You get to decide what you put up. When things go well for me, I share it. That is that aforementioned Jonathan Mayberry Award. It's fun to get that. I was not expecting it at all. It's me reading Paul Tremblay's book. Paul Tremblay does not need my support. He is a New York Times bestselling author. He has had movies put into production. They've been on screen. I think he's got one that's coming out next year, maybe. I know there's one in development. Whether he needs it or not, I'm going to do it. Because maybe folks didn't know he had a new book out. Maybe folks didn't know they liked horror. Maybe they saw the movie, realized he wrote it, and now they want to do something else. Well, now they've got that opportunity to find what it is. This White Tiger Reborn, it's a Marvel comic, came out last year. A friend of mine wrote a story in that. She's one of the writers on it. She also has a very good following, doesn't necessarily need my support or my putting her stuff out there on my social media, but I did it because that is, one, the right thing to do because she's a colleague. She's also a good friend. I support my friends, I support my colleagues. I want them to do well. Do I then expect that in return? No. And you can't. Don't go in doing it expecting something in return. Do it because you are a part of the community. and you're a good citizen of that community because you love the craft, because you want to grow the business. If you're expecting something in return, you may be disappointed and you could turn into that jerk that nobody wants to work with. Do it because it's good for you. It fills your soul, it fills your cup, but also because it grows your brand, grows your network. People start sharing your work. Look at that dude down there. He went on a trip. He was at San Diego Airport, saw my books, sent me a photo of it. That's cool. That's what you want, right? You want people knowing who you are so that when they walk past something, they say, ooh, I know the dude that wrote that. Kristen is a friend now. When we took that picture together, I did not know who she was. She knew me, and she was surprised and excited to meet me that day. And I was like, me? Oh. This picture here with the cat in my book. That cat is named Billy. Billy lives in London. I got international friends. Followed me on social media. They liked what they saw. They bought my book. Took a picture of the book with the cat and put it on their page. I got more sales in London because of that. Pretty cool. Someone bought my book and then made this graphic of other books that they'd read that were similar genre. I didn't ask them to do that. They did it on their own. Posted it on their page so that people would learn about me, learn more about who I am. Encourage them to follow me. Because I was not a jerk, because I am an ambassador for the craft and for the business, because I am a colleague with my fellow writers. I'm not in competition with any of you. You shouldn't be in competition with me. We all work together to support one another's work. We're all storytellers. I want you to succeed as much as anybody else. A lot of bourbon in my books. A friend of mine took a photo of my book with bourbon and a cigar. It's a very serene photo. The music we played before we started this would have been perfect for this. So we got all that information. Define what your brand is. We know what this woman's brand is, right? Oprah, success. That's just kind of what she exudes. We know what this dude's brand is. He's the king of horror. He does more, but we know him as the king of horror. Serena Williams, excellence, athletic excellence. We know who these folks are. What's my brand? What do you think of when you think of me? What do people think of? Yeah. As a matter of fact.
I've got to say something really quick.
Yeah.
So you posted that, what, about 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Liam and I went out, we found it, we bought a bottle just because you posted it.
I can tell you, this is no lie, at least a dozen folks have bought Writer's Tears because they saw me post it. And it is good. It is a very good whiskey. That is my celebratory whiskey. If something good happens in my writing life, I celebrate with a wee nip of Writer's Tears. And then I post it and I share it and make sure people know that things are good in my world. Yes?
I can't help but respond that okay, you need to go to my automatic intuition was that I would definitely send them some books and
Yeah.
a personal note, and that is what an introvert does.
Absolutely. I have been shipped bottles. In fact, I have a home, a wayward home for whiskey. So if you're not drinking anymore and you need to get rid of it, I will make the drive up here and pick it up from you. I've had 2 deliveries in the last month. I have some very nice whiskeys now in my collection. So they know me as a whiskey guy, a bourbon guy. They know me as a guy that's at Comic-Con on a regular basis. I'm typically on a panel, but even if I'm not, I'm there supporting other people that are. You know me as a writer, right? I post my successes, but I also post the journey. If I'm working on a story or working on a book, I will snap a shot of me as I'm writing, as I'm researching, as I'm crying, because I have a plot and I can't figure it out, but I will share that information. So when it comes to my brand, people think of me as Bourbon with a cap, Comic-Con with a cap. I'm not wearing that shirt. That's a different shirt, which is surprising. It might have been day 2. I'm sure I wore that shirt at some time that weekend. Or they'll see me writing or sharing other people's successes. You get to define how that works for you. All of those things are perfect for introverts. All of those things are perfect for you to build your network, to grow as a writer, to grow as a business person, because once you publish a book, it doesn't stop there. You got to market. You got to get out there. You got to get in front of folks. And you can do that in person. You can do that online. You should do both. And you'll find the way that really works for you by knowing your introvert type, knowing the skill set that goes with that type, and knowing which skill really works for what you want to accomplish. Identify your goals, identify the tools to achieve those goals, and then build and nurture your writing network. Just that simple, right? Piece of cake. The thing to remember is that it takes as long as it takes. Don't rush it. Don't rush the process. Don't feel like you have to be rushed either. All of these things take time, and they should, because you're becoming a better, stronger writer. And over time, you're also becoming a better and stronger marketer of yourself, your brand, and your work. Any questions? Come to the mic if you're in the room. Raise your hand if you're online. I am here.
Any questions in the room? No, we're not clapping yet. He isn't done. Any questions in the room? No? Anybody online? Come on, there's got to be somebody with a question.
Introverts do this a lot, right? You don't ask the question because you think you should know it or somebody should know it. You're afraid. You don't put yourself out there. This is the best time to put yourself out there because you are amongst your peers.
So there is an online question. Do you want to unmute and ask your question, or do you want me to read it?
Doesn't matter.
What you got?
Well, I'm hearing you talk a lot about building connectivity with your readers and building communities. So what tool do you use to build your email list?
So I'm going to tell you right now, I suck at that part. I had a newsletter long ago when I first started putting my first book together. So 2020, I started a newsletter. It was built prior to when my book came out. And it was designed to show people more and more about my journey, share that journey so that when the book came out, they would know what was going on. I could blast it out. I had it specialized so that when you signed up for my newsletter, you got a sneak peek at the cover reveal before the rest of the world. You got a sneak peek at chapter 1 before the rest of the world. You got all these kind of exclusive pieces. And it worked for a while, but I wasn't really good at collecting that information, right? Collecting the emails to build an email list. For me, what worked, and it was a slow burn, was utilizing the newsletter and utilizing social media, coming up with different types of contests. Last year, I had relaunched my newsletter. This is the third relaunch. And I had a contest going because I had 3 novels out, my 3 books featuring Cassidy Simmons, and I had 2 short stories. One was a prequel short story that was set 20 years or so, not 20 years, yeah, 20 years before book 1. Had another story that came out shortly. It was a prequel story, but it came out last year. Yes, last year. So I had basically 3 novels and 2 short stories that featured this universe, this character. And so I had a contest. Sign up for my newsletter, and somebody could win these 5 books. I gave away 3 novels and 2 anthologies featuring these characters. I did see a little bit of an uptick, and a winner was awarded, and I started seeing more people. So that, for me, is a good way to do it. The problem is I just suck at keeping up with the newsletter. I have since, in the last couple of months, launched a Substack. We'll see how that goes. But for me, I build my brand based on, I use social media a lot. I use Instagram a lot. I use Facebook a lot, because I like to have the visual aid and the immediacy of what I'm doing to draw people in. And I tend to share as much on social media as I do or would in a newsletter. So it wasn't that it's not a good idea. I think you should have a newsletter. And I know people that will swear by it and say you should definitely get on it. And probably it's 11:20 right now. So in about an hour, I'll get some messages saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Get your newsletter going again," from people who believe in that and want me to do that. Still do the thing that works best for you and your brand. But there are different tools that you can use to kind of build that if newsletter writing is not your strongest suit.
I agree. I find that newsletters are very hard to be consistent with. Some people are just shying at it.
Yeah.
I did one for a little while on a different business, and I just couldn't keep up with it. So I think that your contest is a great idea.
Exactly.
Also, maybe it is possible, because I've been experimenting with it. It is possible to do a pop-up on Facebook that says, if you want a free resource, click here.
Yep.
Which is a very easy way to build an email list.
Exactly. Yeah, there are many tools out there, and I think the key when you are building that is to determine which tool really works best for you. Which works best for you, what works best for your introvert type, but also works best for the time that you have. Most writers I know, I'd say 85-90% have full-time jobs. Number of them are retired, so they have some free time, but most of the folks I know have full-time jobs. I obviously know some that writing is their full-time job, but for a lot of us, that's not the case. And so you have to really look at the time it's going to take to do that. Do you have the time and the mental capacity to come home from work, write, and then think of something for a newsletter as well? If you balance it and you schedule it right, which I would encourage you all to take Teresa's class next month, because she will teach you how to do that, how to manage your time properly with certain things. Some people are successful at it. I'm not. I know that about myself, and I own that. So I do other things that really work for me and my brand.
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah.
And one quick note on that, Teresa, who will be here next week, was your co-editor, correct?
She was our publisher.
A publisher on Dread Coast. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, she runs No Bad Books Press. Christina and I reached out to her and said, what do you think about publishing this? And she's like, let's do it.
So I have a question. Does anyone else have any questions, by the way, in the room? If so, go to the mic. Please go to the mic. Go ahead. Well, go up to the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in true introvert fashion, I researched your profile before coming here. So
good, smart, being prepared.
Yeah. My question is, I noticed that you had 2 master's levels in different fields.
Mm-hmm.
How have you integrated those, or the intersection between those 2 coming into your writing?
Good question. Yeah, so I have a master's degree in forensic psychology. I got that while I was a private investigator, because at the time I was working for a company. My plan was to specialize in certain areas of investigation. I thought having that master's would help kind of add to that validity, make me a stronger candidate for certain jobs, this, that, the other thing. Taught me a lot about people, taught me a lot about how the mind works, how to better engage with folks. The second master's I have is the Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing. And that obviously talks about the craft, more about the craft, not so much the business, but certainly the craft of writing, not just fiction, but even nonfiction, screenplays, all kinds of fun stuff. All of those pieces, I've worked in 3 industries over the course of my life: retail, sales, investigations, and mental health. All of those fields have given me kind of an insight into people, right? How to understand people, how to engage people, how to tap into what it is they really want and provide that to them. It has also made me a better listener. So I listen to folks, I understand, I watch people constantly to see how they're doing things, trying to understand why they're doing certain things. The education has given me a good theoretical foundation for the reasons people do things. The PI work has helped me understand like how to watch people do things and how to make a mental note of that. Mental health, same thing, helped me understand how to really engage with folks that are going through things. All of that said, it gives me a great insight in how to develop characters. So I'm not just developing characters. What I'm doing is I'm telling someone's story, someone that doesn't physically exist, but that exists, right? So my character, Cassidy Simmons, she is a woman in her late 30s. She's got supernatural powers. She's also a little bit of a drinker. She loves bourbon. I wonder where she got that from. She's got a traumatic past. She's got some issues that have happened, things that have happened to her when she was younger. She's adopted. She doesn't really know where she comes from. So I am able to utilize the things that I have gone through, the people that I've met, things that I've heard about and their experiences to kind of make her a full person, not just a character that is kind of piecemealed here and there. So all of those things go into helping with the craft, but definitely helping with the character development so that it feels like you're reading about a real person and not just someone that someone arbitrarily put together.
It's a great answer. So we're coming to the end of our time together. I have one last question that you might want to share with the group.
Yeah.
And that is, you've dealt with a lot of information today, a lot of strategies for introverts. If you had to, one plan of action, one item, the most important item that you would tell the introverts in the room to go do first, to kind of get their feet wet, to jump in, what would that be?
I mean, you're already kind of doing it. You come to a meeting at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, right? You find the tribe that works for you. So get involved, go to conferences, go to some of those pop culture conventions as well. I wouldn't recommend jumping out of the gate, going into Comic-Con, unless that's something that you really want to do. Maybe start smaller. There are some smaller conferences that you can go to, but the more you get involved in these festivals and in these conferences and in these conventions, the more you will get comfortable being around people, but you're also going to find the folks that work for you. If you write in a very specific genre, so if you're a mystery writer, join Mystery Writers of America, join Sisters in Crime, and join their local branches. There's a Sisters in Crime branch in San Diego called Partners in Crime. I'm on that board, but there's also one in LA. Join them both. You're kind of in the middle-ish. You can get to both. If you're a horror fan, join the HWA. If you like to write sci-fi and fantasy, join SIFWA. Go to the place that feeds your soul. There is a group of those folks out there, and that is the best way to meet people that write the same thing that you do, and they're all different levels. There's bestsellers, and there's folks that just started writing that morning. But the more you get involved in the community, and those are the best ways to do it, the more comfortable you'll be, the more people you'll meet, and things will grow from there. So yeah, conferences, conventions, that's what I would do. No, but if you guys need anything from me, my business card is up here. Feel free to email me. If you're looking for copies of these slides, I'd be happy to send them to you. Just email me, say that you're in this presentation, and I will shoot you over a PDF copy of them. I've got postcards in my books. Follow me on DennisKCrosby.com. That's got links to all my social media. I'm on Instagram a lot, so that's also a good way to find me. But thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys.
I think I also see extra books up here, which I would assume you'd be willing to, anyone who's interested, sell them a book.
I mean, if you want to buy a book, right?
It's there, and he'll even sign it for you. So there are books up front if you're interested in that. Dennis, thank you again. What an amazing presentation. I saw this presentation about a year ago at Temecula Valley, and I got to have him here because I think all of us, even if you are quote unquote an extrovert, will benefit from this presentation because you can understand the other side as well. So thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. Our next meeting is on June 20th, and it is Teresa Halverson, which Dennis just gave her an amazing plug. She is fabulous as a speaker. This woman does more in a 24-hour period than anyone I know, and she'll be speaking on time management for creatives. So if you can make it, it's going to be a fabulous meeting. A couple closing reminders. If you're not on our mailing list and want to be, if you're here, sign the form in the room. If you're not, email the Guild and we'll add you to the email list so that you never ever miss a meeting if you would like. And if you'd like to join us, feel free to go see the treasurer in the back or send in your $30 for the year to PayPal. And you can find that on our website. And that's just about it. Thank you so much all for coming, and we'll see you next month.